Thank you, Janet. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Email Etiquette webinar today. It's my pleasure to meet you all online. My name is Eileen Tenney, as Janet was saying, and I'm from Seneca College. The title of today's webinar is Business Communication, Email Etiquette for Success. We will talk about a few emails, do's and don'ts, and to help you to be more successful in writing emails. For people who know me, I make a lot of mistakes myself. So please do what I say, not what I do. Okay, let's start. Focus of today's webinar is on business emails, which are more formal than personal emails. And most of them are considerations, not rules, and they're called commonly agreed email etiquettes. In our presentation, Outlook is used in examples. In business communication, as we know, there are so many different ways to connect with people. There are informal chats, there are one-on-one meeting, group meeting, teleconferencing, Skype, phone calls, text messages, or social media, or email. That's what we're going to talk about. So in each situation that we have, we need to assess what is the best, efficient, the most efficient communication method for this specific situation. Emails cannot replace everything. But if email is the best choice for you for that situation, remember, an email reflects who the sender is. Is the person organized? Is the person pleasant, polite, professional, and cheerful, positive? Because each email can be forwarded to anyone and can be archived centrally or locally, can be monitored. It can make a lasting impression. So each email we send out should be our best work. Sending an email, we need to take time. A lot of times we need to think twice what we want to do. Do we want to reply all? Do we want to send an attachment? Is this too long? Do we want to use BCC? We need to consider sending email doesn't mean the productivity for ourselves. It means the productivity for everybody. Is it a waste of time for some of them? And also, everybody should have a clear role for this email. So, which means there is a reason for everybody to receive this email. And the email, the message we're getting across should be clear and concise. Throughout the whole email, we need to use a very positive and respectful tone so nobody will be offended. Lastly, but not the most important, is no errors. We should have no errors in our email. We'll talk about the delivery, the format, and the content of an email. There are so many delivery options to help us to make our emails make the best impact. Okay? The BCC is one that could be very useful in some cases. Reply all, however, we should really think twice before we hit reply all. Before we forward, we also should think, is it sensitive information we're forwarding, or is the sender of the original email okay with me forwarding this? I don't know whether you've received requests for read receipts sometimes. I would like to say be careful when you do that, because people might not be happy to be asking, when are you reading my email? Subject is very important. to an email, it has to be clear. Attachments, they have to be necessary, not just because I want to, I think it will be best just to everybody knows all these things. Okay? There are emailing options in all different email programs, and what we want to do is we want to go in and check them to make sure they're our choices. They're not just defaults. And we can talk about that a little bit later about defaults and options. BCC, blind carbon copy, hides email addresses from all the recipients. It's useful in some cases. One is when the recipients in the list might not know each other, so it could be a privacy concern. The other time might be useful is you want to hide a long list of email addresses in an email so nobody has to go through, scroll down to get to the actual message. Okay? For example, one example of me recently using the BCC is I was communicating with an external party, and I want my manager to know what's going on without letting the person, the third party, know what my manager's email ID is. So I put my manager's email ID in the blind copy. And that is one of the times I would be appropriate or useful. We talk about subject. And this example, employer, event planning meeting, the date and the time, very clear. And that is a better tight subject than just planning meeting. Okay? A concise, meaningful subject is necessary. It might make a difference whether somebody's going to read your email or not. Your email might not be read if this subject's too long, or it looks spammy, which means like advertisement. Apply today, or offer is good for 30 days. That is going to be discarded so quickly. Emails with no subject also might be treated as spam. And we're going to talk about the subject reminder, where Outlook will remind us if this subject field is blank, and then ask you whether you want to send or not send. So when you see this window, don't just hit enter and then we'll send emails with no subjects anyways. That happened to me quite a few times. So we have to be careful. Have you ever forgotten to attach a file? I have many, many times. And Outlook reminds us about attachments. In the cases where we have something like attached is the monthly report for you to review. Outlook recognizes attached as a keyword. And if there are no attachments, it will display this pop-up window and asking you whether you want to send or don't send. The other way is, the other case is if you add an attachment but you delete it during the time of the email creation, and you send it, and this pop-up window will also come up. In Outlook, attachment reminder can be enabled or disabled by going through the options and clicking whether you want to check or uncheck the box. We talked about briefly delivery and read receipts. The sender can request to have delivery and or read receipts from the recipients. In Outlook, if delivery receipt is requested, it's sent automatically. But if a read request receipt is requested, the recipient of the email can choose. So it's all up to the recipient to control whether you'll see your receipt or not. Okay, you'll see this message: sender has requested read receipt. To send a receipt, click here. If you don't, then it won't be sent. When you're the sender, you can set this option whether every time you send a message, it's going to request for a read receipt. Sorry, wrong. This is a recipient can choose to send this read receipt or not, so they can block it. Okay. I personally use this ask me before sending a response. So every time you'll ask me instead of just always or never do that. We can set a default reply setting to reply or reply all. Our suggestion is to do reply. You can always override the default when you want to do reply all when actually sending a message. Most of you probably have email signatures. If you don't, the best way to do it is by example. Go and use somebody else's you like and do it by example. And here, it's showing that 5 to 6 lines should be sufficient for email signature. If not, then taking up too much room of an email. And if you know somebody very well or have a few communications before, then you can down edit it to just thank you JS or cheers Jane. Very informal once you know somebody. But for somebody who's out of the organization or you don't know them very well, the full email signature is recommended. So important, when you're away from your office, you also have to answer your email. You want this automatic reply to go to tell people the date you're going to come back, contact, and so they can expect a slower response time. I forgot to do this just a week or 2 weeks ago, and when I came back, I had to send out all apologies. I apologize for late reply, and that's a waste of time. So to be effective, this is what we need to set. We make mistakes, and then we think, well, I want to have it back. The message, I would really like to have it back. In Outlook, there's a feature called undo send. Undo send. Undo is misleading because it's not undoing anything. Essentially, it's setting a delay to send messages. So you have a window of up to 30 seconds to cancel this message. There are other options called recall, and actually this is actually undoing something. However, because the nature of what it has to do, it actually has to go back, retrieve. It might not work because there are different platforms and different organizations with different policies, and it might not work for you. I had that set like years ago for a while, but it really didn't work. So they're not really recalling. It's not reliable. And once somebody's read the email, there's no point anywhere. It's recalling. With unsend, it's straightforward. You pop this status bar will pop up, and if you click undo, or put the message in the draft folder without sending it, otherwise it will be sent. So straightforward, however, can be frustrating because this happens for each and every message. I tried that for a while, but I couldn't really stand the wait every time. Format choices. We need to make our emails formatted so it look well, so they look professional. So you need to have, before you talk about the greeting, the opening, the body, thanks, the closing, and in the body you want to talk about why you're sending this email and what do you expect from it, very clearly. To make it look professional, we need to use the same font type and the boring black and white, and size will be 11 to 12. Don't skip the opening, closing, and signature. They could be short, but don't skip them. Very early in the email, you need to say why you're sending this email, and then followed by what action and time. Like you expect things to happen. If you're forwarding something, don't just forward it without saying anything. Tell the person why you're forwarding it. Like, I'm forwarding this, requesting your attendance in the meeting tomorrow. Okay, so that's a better way. So to make sure that they know, they're not confused. When you're asked questions, answer all questions when you reply, not just some of them, because that will be a waste of time when they come back and say, how about this? How about this? You didn't answer. So let's do it all together. Black and white's boring, but multicolored would make people think that you're not serious. So, and caps make you look like you're very aggressive, and the bold too. So you have, it's not like we don't use them, but think twice. Make sure that it is what the effect is what you're looking for. We have bullets, make things look easier to read, but we have bullets with parallel structure, that's even better. A parallel structure is bullets which starts with the same word form. So for this example, please edit something, send something, send somebody something, email me. So they're all three verbs. Makes it easy to go down the list. And you can use subheadings to categorize things you want to talk about in email as well. When we start talking about and say, by the way, that is an indication a new email might be needed for a separate topic. Length of the email is even higher priority these days because people use their mobile devices. So we would like to keep one screen, if possible, for all devices that will be used. Next, we're going to talk about content. What's in the email, words, and the tone you're getting across. So important to how your email is received. I'm going to talk, these are more like rules. Do not. No emoticons, abbreviation like OMG, LOL, spam hoaxes. Don't forward them. Chain letters, jokes. Don't send private or personal emails with information you don't want people to see, because essentially there's no privacy once anything is getting out in the email. The same as confidential information such as SIM, credit card, and other confidential information is not confidential. Nothing is confidential once it's out in the net. More rules here. Don't use all caps. Reply before noon. Yes, I can see that, but I might not be very happy that it's put that way to me. And multiple exclamation marks. It's not professional. Okay, so we want also to avoid using them. Of course, we talk about errors. We have to look at and recheck spelling, grammar, punctuation. They're all important to remove those errors. and text effects. We're not saying don't use any special effects, but be careful. The effect that you have with text effects might not be what you want, might not be preferred, okay? Here we're going to talk about some do's. When we send an email, we want to anticipate what kind of questions or concerns people might have. And being proactive, you want to answer those questions, address the concerns. So that will save time for everybody. Always respectful to everybody. Short and sweet, but not short and snappy. We all know what that means. We don't want to be short and abrupt or sound impatient. We could be polite at the same time being concise. The assumption for all emails is that they will stay around. They will become public. Everybody can see it. So whatever we put out there has to be the best work, and also has to be something that we don't mind putting on the wall for everybody to see. So every time we send an email, if you want to have something sensitive or personal in there, think twice. The following words are things that we want to limit. No gives people like triggers. This is really bad triggers for negative feelings. So we can say no in ways that without actually spell out no, right? So if you're going to decline a meeting, you can say, I have prior commitments, but I'd love to be connected with you after the meeting and see if there's anything I can help. Okay? Instead of a short no, that's going to hurt a person's feeling, right? So we try to omit that. And if we start anything by saying actually, we're correcting somebody. So putting that actually in the email will offend some people. So we're trying to omit. Not having actually sometimes doesn't even affect the meaning of the whole sentence. So try that. Be nice. Instead of saying I think, we'll say I believe. Instead of saying I'll try, say I will. Because we want to come across confident that we know what we're doing, and that stronger, more positive words will help us to get that message across. And I's and me's, I know we can avoid having them, but we probably want to not minimize, but reduce the number we talk about I and me, because that sounds a little bit egocentral. Okay. Instead, we and us will give us image that we're part of the team, we're a team player, the team spirits, so that is a more positive image. Again, for more formal emails, instead of saying sorry, we'll say I apologize, just to be more sincere. Okay, for really things that I messed up, I will say I apologize for the late reply. I apologize for sending the emails with no subject. Okay. And the more old-fashioned phrases, they're very, very polite, sends high regards, and very respectful. For instance, here, if I can be of any assistance at any time, please don't hesitate to call. It's good, but we could probably minimize, shorten that to please call if you have questions. Direct but polite. Okay. We don't have, if we want to keep our emails down to one screen, we can't have long phrases like this one. Okay. Sometimes we see emails with very vague expectation. ASAP. What's ASAP? When you have a moment, maybe the person will never have a moment. Right? So want to set the right expectations and clear. And before 3 p.m. Friday is much better. If we're asking for help, I'm going to ask for help from you guys. I really like to have help from you guys. Instead of saying that, you say, could you please create a flyer? And John, could you please put together a presentation for Friday's meeting? Okay. People say, fix it, do your magic, do your best. Instead, we want to say, please revise report with February stats. That leaves no room for interpretation. Now this is the second part of our presentations, more lighthearted. We're comparing emails to everyday situations, and I use a lot of cartoons and mostly my own drawings. So let's see. In everyday situation, we probably receive mail sent to us by mistake, or confidential, even confidential personal information from banks or government sent to us by mistake to the wrong person. It happens. It happens in emails too. Okay. I know someone who works for an oil company who shares the same last name with another person who's a top expert in oil exploration in Texas, in the States. And this person received twice very, very highly sensitive emails meant for the expert to him about where to drill oil. And that is very, very high secret for an oil company. So anything you put in the email could get lost, could get to the wrong hands, could be misdirected. So one lesson here is do not put any personal confidential information in emails. And the other one is you fill in your 2CC, BCC last. So after you finish the message, you go back to put the recipients, and then you check right there twice to make sure they're sent to the right people. In meetings, sometimes you say, in this meeting, you'll look at this person and say, who is this person? Who invited this person into a meeting? And the same thing with emails. You might look down the email address list and say, who is this person? Why is he receiving this email? Right. It could be the person has the same last name. It could be this person has the same first name, and somehow it just got sent to the wrong person. So we have to verify the full names and addresses before we send out any email. We've probably all been to meetings where just full of people, but so many of people in the meeting will say, why am I here? Why am I here? And that applies to emails as well. Not so much as when you first select to send out an original email, but when you do reply all. Do these people all need to know about my reply? So think about that next time when you use reply all. In seminars or conferences, sometimes we're asked to be breaking into small groups for discussions or presentations. In the email, it's the same thing. If we receive a huge team email to everybody for a number of tasks, and later on we break up into groups to handle different issues. So that big email shouldn't be sent with all the, we shouldn't be sent to the whole group anymore. The future emails should be sent to the group that you're in. Do I need to sign for my mail every time? Every time the door? If you ask to sign for it every time, the first time you say sure. Second time you say, well, again. And the third time, no. And the fourth time, we never. Okay? That happens to the read receipts. If we don't, we're not careful about when we send out a request for read receipts, then people will think, well, these are not even urgent. So why are you requesting read receipts? Then you'll be declined every time. So next time you really have something sensitive, time sensitive and urgent, you won't be able to do it because everybody's declining, blocking your requests. So think every time to use it carefully. If we have a letter and you read through it to say, what is this all about? With an email with a clear subject, person will know exactly what's in this email. Okay, so we've got to have, it's a must to have a clear subject, and the subject should be about 6 to 10 words long. And clear means you have to have the right words, right, to be meaningful, and also keywords that the person can search for later on. We talk about the reminder. We have to watch for the reminder if the subject's blank. Nobody wants to read documents, right? So if you dump something on somebody's desk, they will say, I don't want it. Say, get it away from me. So for emails, think twice before sending attachments. If they're large, compress them. And that's what you must do. Otherwise, you're also going to tie up the network resources if you send the attachment to a number of people, large attachments. Have you had this situation happen to you before? Somebody bumped into you in the morning, they start talking about the business issue right away before you even have, if you can ask, good morning, how are you? Okay. In email, opening and closing are not optional in formal emails. If it's, it's informal, it's okay. But if you're writing an email, you should put the opening and closing in there for sure. So if we receive a mail with no return address, we didn't know who sent this in a white envelope, you ask who sent this, and you might be a little bit confused, or it could be a little bit suspicious. And should I open this? Right? In emails, we have to include a signature which is easy to see, very clear, very easy to find, with contact information if we don't know this person. So formal contact information, your email signature. Would you shout at your coworkers at work? Probably never. So why would you shout at people in emails? We should avoid using all caps or multiple exclamation marks in your email. In the email and also in subject, because I see some people like to put it in subject to make it more visible, but that is also not recommended. How do you feel if people give you a page of a document, a long document to read? Most of the time, you're not happy about it. Right? So instead of 10-page email, which I hope nobody sends out 10-page emails anymore, but we still sometimes will see emails with a lot of information. The longer the email is, the less likely the person that you send it to will read or read well. So to keep that in mind when you write your next email, just keep clear and concise. Your message will get across much better, and keep it to one screen if possible. How about dumping things at people? Junk. Don't dump it on me. Nobody likes junk, so therefore don't send junk, anything that you don't like, to other people. Have you ever had a chance to talk to employers, clients, or people outside your organization, and you get so excited about talking about your services, and we're EO and we're SP, and we have EC and JD and OW and ODSP, OYAP and OCOGG. Are you speaking a foreign language? They probably think. Yes, we are speaking a foreign language, and we have to try not to use jargon and acronyms that we use in the office, and because our recipients might get confused if they're not one of the service provider workers. So be careful. Errors cause confusion and miscommunication. When we have errors in our emails, we're not getting our message across. Doesn't matter how good the message is. We need to double check emails, and one way to help us to have less errors is we use a word processor to compose. You compose in the word processor and copy and paste right to your email after you're happy with it. Dave is a clown. He's probably joking again, right? I certainly hope nobody says Eileen is a clown and she's probably not serious. She's never serious. Okay? It might be fun to be with a clown as a friend, but we don't usually like to work with clowns on our team. So to not have that reputation, we want to have our emails free of emoticons or abbreviation text messages. Okay? That looks too informal for in the business world. Okay. Bob is a hothead. What do you do this time? And this actually is true. I knew a manager years and years ago that he had a reputation of being a hothead. And one day we all heard that what he did, he threw a telephone at some poor guy because he was so mad. And news traveled fast. Of course, everybody found out in minutes. And his reputation got much worse after that. We won't throw a telephone at anybody, so we shouldn't send. We should never send angry emails. There's no place for it. Okay? The strategy would be, one would be have a 24-hour period, cooling down. The other one would be write whatever you want in Word, a document, but never send it. So that will make you feel better, much better results than angry emails for sure. Have you had experience that you walked by and somebody was talking to somebody in a very condescending tone? You feel uncomfortable. And this person saying, listen, these must be done by 5 p.m. Do you have any questions? This is very condescending. And that should never happen in emails. But you have to be careful because the tone in emails is not as you can hear when people talk. So we have to use the right words to make sure we have a respectful, professional, polite tone all the time. Here, you always say, I'm going to tell you a secret. This is between you and me. Is it going to be a secret once you told somebody? Most likely not. And that's even worse for emails. Travel fast, spread like, especially interesting. There's something juicy about the email. It will spread like wildfire. They stay around and they can become public. Just that, assume that. So don't include any private or confidential information you don't want to share with the whole world. Privacy. Okay? Respect others' privacy. One way to do this is to ask for permission before forwarding sensitive information or sharing email addresses. Right? Remember, we use the BCC, so in emails you don't have to share email addresses with others. Okay, we'll come to a summary. We sit around, a lot of us sit around in front of a computer, handling email, handling phone calls, using all sorts of technology, but we don't interact with computers. Instead, we interact with humans. Each one of these emails behind it is a human being. So we ask, would I speak to them this way, face to face? Reply to your emails, because we experience situations that we really need an answer, we're not getting an answer, really impatient, very frustrated. Within a day, 1 or 2 business days, you need to reply. Even the emails were not meant to you. You're going to say, sorry, you sent to the wrong person. That's it. Help out the person. I say this a lot. Oops. Oh, no. I make mistakes, but we apologize. For major errors, the minor ones, we apologize. We just remember we don't do that often. It's okay. So we apologize, we correct them. I really don't think the undo and the recall are necessary in this place. Just apologize sincerely, honestly, for your mistakes. Most people understand, right? Most people are forgiving. So we have to be forgiving if other people make mistakes. We send the wrong emails back to them, say, this is not for me, or we correct their errors in the email and the time, the place, and just be helpful. We're all stressed. When we're stressed, we must keep calm and write on. Our emails should paint a picture of calmness of us. They shouldn't see all the folders and files and everything in our office and the way how we're stressed. And so we must stay calm. We want our message to express that. Last message. This is what I look like if I'm in a hurry. I make a lot of mistakes. Bad things seem to go a lot when I'm in a hurry. Take time. Don't rush. Only then you're calm, you can make the right decisions for your emails and not making mistakes. Last, be nice. Say a hello, please, thank you. Say good job done. Why? Because nice matters in your emails, in your professional career. That's it. Thank you.